Coming up on Our News Weekend, when it rains, it pours. Thunderstorms lashed the northern and central Bahamas today, bringing severe wind gusts and heavy rain. We'll show you how it impacted motorists. And savings, savings, savings. The VAT holiday began today, and back-to-school shoppers filled stores across the island. Plus, let the games begin. The Team Bahamas swim team making waves at the GOODWILL Games in Jamaica. Our Sasha Lightborn gives us a recap. We've got these stories and more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm MARLENA Leonard. Severe thunderstorms trekked across the central and northern Bahamas this morning, bringing heavy rain, lightning, and flash flooding. And as this video shows, it also created hazardous driving conditions, leaving many motorists having to avoid deep puddles of water while running their weekend errands. The Department of Meteorology saying an active tropical wave created the unsettled weather across portions of the northwest and central Bahamas. The wild weather also caused by a high-pressure system centered north of the area that prompted strong winds. The department also warning residents to watch out for waterspouts, funnel clouds, and rip currents. But the rain not putting a damper on back-to-school shopping for many parents who headed out today to catch major deals as the VAT holiday started today.
Kids today, and people were outside, cars were parked from 8 o'clock, and we don't open until 8:30. But I have to say I'm thankful to the government for giving the persons who are in need of this special opportunity to get the VAT-free items back, to get the children back to school.
Janae's Uniform Center was bustling with parents trying to get a jump start on the first day of the back-to-school VAT holiday this morning. Many of those customers were helped by some of Janae's summer students. Janae's Managing Director Martha Wallace tells us,
I say thank you to them who are doing an awesome job, and I just ask the customers to be a little patient with them, but they're doing an awesome job, and I say thank you to the summer students. We have some 28 summer students this year. Just
down the road at Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, manager Kim Gibson tells us while some stores said they struggled to prepare their systems for last year's back-to-school VAT holiday, this year's preparation was much easier.
Yes, well, we had, store owners had ample warning, so it was easier to prepare. Parents, they are now taking advantage of it. A lot of parents have already shopped because they wanted to beat the rush. Nonetheless, parents are still taking advantage of the VAT-free holiday, and we're seeing that today. Today is the first day.
As for trending items, Gibson tells us,
people are flocking to get the Barbie backpacks and lunch boxes, the Black Panther bags, the Super Mario bags, so we see that those are going quickly. We also see that a lot of parents are coming in to get the shirts, our school shirts, and we have the school shirts with the school's names embroidered on them, and that's in great need.
And Carey's has this top tip for your VAT holiday shopping.
I would encourage people to come as soon as possible because the stock is moving quickly. I would also encourage parents to bring their children with them because sometimes they guess and they have the wrong size, they take it home, they tear open the packages, they want to bring it back. So we would prefer the children to come in. We have uniforms available for them to try on, and we'd like them to leave with the proper size one time.
343 new public school teachers will enter classrooms this year. The new hires attending orientation this past week ahead of the new school year that's set to begin on August 28th. The Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson says this year they're welcoming a number of speech pathologists.
A number of teachers from the University of the Bahamas. There's also a cohort from Cuba and other applicants who were successful. So in fact, this year, there are more than teachers that have been hired. There are speech pathologists and other educational allied workers. That is a welcome change because a lot of times we focus on teachers and guidance counselors. When they were able to hire persons who will be able to assist our children with their speech, that's perfect.
Wilson also has this advice for the new hires before they enter the classroom.
It's not teaching practice, so it's a learning process, and I think one of the most important things, and I'm going to definitely do a follow-up with education, is to ensure that each of them have a mentor, because that mentor is very, very, very helpful, and it helps to make your transition from being a student teacher to a trained teacher with a full classroom on your own. It helps to make it much, much more smoother.
From incoming teachers to incoming police officers. Earlier this week, the National Security Minister confirmed cops are returning to public school campuses. It's a move to keep campuses across the country safe. Concerns about school safety were reignited last year following a stabbing at AF Adderley Junior High. Monroe underscores the importance of protecting students.
I think it was back in 2022, March or April, after an incident at AF Adderley School, that the Commissioner of Police, on my urging, deployed police officers back into the school. That is continuing.
And now to safety of another nature, the recent roof collapse at a government school. Bahamas Contractors Association President Leonard Sands says the roof at R.M. Bailey High School should have been properly braced before being completed.
It was exactly as, most professionals would have been able to glean from the photos. When installing that type of roof truss system where there's very little support underneath, you have to be able to brace that properly along the way, not install the whole system and then come behind and try brace it.
In a statement, the Ministry of Works and Utilities reported that the employees of the general contractor, either in an effort to take down some of the members or adjust the members, removed some of the bracing, making the system unstable and causing a collapse of the trusses. While there were no reported injuries, the site was fenced to restrict public access, and a work stop order has been issued. It noted the contractor has accepted full responsibility for the collapse and has agreed to reconstruct the roof at no cost to the government and the people of the Bahamas. The incident happened weeks before schools are set to open. Sands says the structure wouldn't have withstood high winds.
What was apparent from the images that we saw prior to the collapse is that was not adequate bracing to ensure that when winds pick up, the load wouldn't shift and the whole thing just sandwich on each other. So it was not about the product being inferior. It was not about probably the person not even installed it properly. But with a system that long, that span so great, you had to install enough bracing to keep it rigid until the plywood was installed.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, healthcare in North Eleuthera getting a major boost with the opening of a clinic in the Bluff community. Technology is the way of the future at the Lyndon Pindling International Airport. A top NAT official explains how it's making travel easier. Don't go anywhere. Our News Weekend returns soon.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
This is Our News Weekend. Welcome back. Healthcare in North Eleuthera got a major boost with the opening of a clinic in the Bluff. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville officially opened the clinic. Addressing the small group gathered, he says plans for the medical clinic started in 2016. He insists it's important for Family Island residents to get the same care as patients in the capital.
You are deserving of community health services, like every citizen in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You deserve to experience the same type of quality care as any facility in New Providence or Grand Bahama. That is what this archipelagic nation is all about. The community of Bluff, you need to be commended because this is a community-based project, and the government is now going into a private-public partnership with you. We are going to make sure that we run this clinic and be able to provide quality services, not only at the clinic site, as Charlene has said, but we want to expand our ability to community nurses.
Bahamas Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne encouraged nurses and doctors stationed at the clinic.
I just want y'all to be encouraged in the delivery of care. I know you all are the best. I say that our nurses in the Family Island, they don't just go above and beyond, they go overboard because the things that they do. And so I need you to be encouraged and know that I'm excited to be here because now I see what the clinic is, and then I got asked, our esteemed minister, I want to be down for the next clinic opening.
And Eleuthera will be getting more than just better health care. They'll also be getting more visitors. It's one of the islands set to get more airlift thanks to new routes added by American Airlines. AA has announced an expansion in its winter service to the Bahamas from the southern states in the U.S., including Miami International Airport, Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, and Charlotte-Douglas International Airport. In a statement, AA said Charlotte to Eleuthera, Marsh Harbor, and Georgetown, Bahamas expands to daily flights from February 15, 2024 to April 3rd. Dallas-Fort Worth to Nassau, Bahamas expands to daily flights starting from February 15th. And it's no secret that the country's #1 gateway is seeing a boost in flights. To meet the growing demand, technology is the way of the future at the Linden-Pindling International Airport. A top Nassau Airport Development Company official says the goal is to make the traveling experience easier for passengers. Italia Hall reports.
Vice President of Operations at the Nassau Development Company, Jonathan Hanna, says NATL is expanding the use of technology at the Linden-Pindling International Airport, all in an effort to make traveling easier for passengers. Last year, an app that provides detailed flight information was launched and is now available.
When we talk about delays and cancellations, persons want to know where their aircraft is en route to Nassau or how far the delay is out. And so what we found is the app is actually providing that information and sort of reducing that anxiety, and that information also feeds up into the gate monitors upstairs where they can actually see their aircraft on a map and say, okay, we know the flight is en route, it's going to be here in 30 minutes. So, we're always looking at ways we can sort of reduce that anxiety and provide additional information to the passenger, because that's what they want at the end of the day, is to be able to know exactly what's happening.
And there's also a new feature for North American visitors.
The U.S. Customs and Border Protection actually rolled out mobile passport control, which allows them to complete their U.S. submission up to 4 hours before they arrive at the airport, and then once they get into the hall, there's some dedicated lines for them, and what that does is it enhances the efficiency not only for them but for persons who are not eligible at this time, because then that takes them off of different lines, and so it helps both lines to move as efficiently as possible.
Now, for those wanting to order food at the airport right from their seat, the executive says that option is also available.
Grab is still around. What it does is it allows persons to order their food through a mobile application, and then they can just pick up, so they avoid all the lines. And so if persons are interested, they can download it from the Google Play or Apple Store. Look at any of the food operators or the tenants that we have upstairs and order online and pick up.
And with the implementation of these new features and more, the Vice President says NATL is doing well as a company.
As we see more passengers come through the terminal, that benefits all of us, not just NATL, but the tenants, concessionaires, and so they say raising tides or raise all boats, and so that has certainly been the case for us here as we continue to see stronger numbers come through. That obviously augurs well for all of us as airport operators and partners.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Italia Hall.
When Our News comes back from the break, the Team Bahamas swim team making waves at the Goodwill Games in Jamaica. Our Sasha Lightbourne is there and has a recap of day 1 of the competition. And an 11-member Bahamas track and field team representing the country at the 19th edition of the World Championships. We'll tell you who made the cut. Our News Weekend returns in a moment. Day 2 of the 2023 Goodwill Games competition should be wrapping up at Jamaica's Aquatic Center. Our Sasha Lightbourne will bring us that update tomorrow. But first, she takes us through a wrap-up of Day 1. Here's that report.
Day 1 of the 2023 Goodwill Games saw Team Bahamas come hot out the blocks. Team Bahamas won several gold medals as well as broke lots of meet records. We spoke to some of the winners following their races.
I felt a little tight, but that didn't really stop me. I still had to push, but it was good. I felt good in the water.
It was really good. It was really hard to compete against the girls. I think they did a really good job, and it was really good. I swim breaststroke every day at swimming, so it's kind of like easy, but it felt good.
Team Bahamas also took the gold, silver, and bronze in the boys' 15 to 17 meter free race.
My goal was to just stay nice and relaxed. First 50 and bring it all home second 50. And I guess the plan works.
Looking at the scoreboard, I saw 1-2. Then I looked down at third. I made sure Ayrton Lee was 6. I said, all right, that's all I need to know.
I felt pretty good going out with these two guys. One of the best freestyles in this country have to offer. I hit the turn good. My underwaters felt nice.
When it was all said and done, we spoke to head coach Dylan Brown.
We said we're going to make a point in the first session. We're going to stamp our class. We're going to show them who the Bahamas is, who we are, what we're all about. And we're doing that right now.
But none of that happened before heavy rainfall during swim warm-ups. That was followed by the parade of athletes and a brief opening ceremony where Jamaica's Aquatic Sports Association President Martin Lynn made this pronouncement.
On behalf of the Aquatic Sports Association of Jamaica, I hereby declare the meet open.
Now at the end of day one, the Bahamas racked up a total of 448 points, followed by Jamaica and then Trinidad and Tobago to round out the top 3. Now day 2 has also wrapped up. We'll bring you those scores tomorrow. Reporting from Kingston, Jamaica, for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
The 11-member Bahamas track and field team is set for the 19th edition of the World Championships, which begins today. Leading the team in Budapest are Stephen Gardner and Shawnee Miller-Weibo. Along with Miller-Weibo, who won the 400-meter title in Eugene, Oregon last year, are sprinter Anthony Strawn, hurdler Devin Charlton, Charisma Taylor, and NCAA javelin champion Rima Otobor. On the men's side are quarter-miler Alonzo Russell, sprinter Terrence Jones, veteran high jumper Donald Thomas, long jumper Laquan Nairn, and hurdler Shaquem Hall-Smith. And the Bahamas is set to hold a major meeting, the 13th Commonwealth Women's Affairs Ministers meeting that kicks off on Monday. The event gives countries the opportunity to discuss critical issues in advancing gender equality and women's empowerment. The high-level event will be held under the theme Transformative Leadership for Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment. Wife of the Prime Minister Anne-Marie Davis has been charged with leading a high-level side event on gender-based violence.
Substantive issues such as violence against women and girls, women's health, disability, the experience of wages, wide ranges of high-level effects of women. We will be examining a lot of the leadership issues as regards economic empowerment, leadership in politics, education and skills development, mental health.
When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, a summer of extremes. Heat waves continue to impact countries across the world, and international experts are taking notice. Plus, find out how a successful Grand Bahama businesswoman partnered with a well-known U.S. women's basketball coach to give back to her community. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns. Welcome back to Our News Weekend. A strong earthquake struck the Colombian capital Bogota on Thursday, reaching a 6.3 magnitude, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, prompting frightened residents to flee homes, offices, and restaurants. The initial quake was followed by aftershocks minutes later as people crowded the city's streets. Colombia's National Geological Service has estimated the second quake at a 5.6 magnitude, with the following aftershock measured at 4.8. Colombia's Civil Defense Agency noted residents had been evacuated in the southeast region of the high-altitude capital.
We were on the 6th floor. It was a strong quake. There were 10 people there. We were calm and waiting for evacuation instructions. We all hid under the tables, scared because we thought it would stop shaking quickly, but no. Then when the shaking stopped, we could no longer feel it. We started to evacuate, but it was difficult to evacuate because all the people wanted to leave.
The World Meteorological Organization is warning that the summer of extremes is still ongoing as several countries in Europe brace for a new heat wave. Europe is battling the effects of scorching temperatures, which have reached worrying levels globally, with July being the hottest month recorded on both land and sea. The heat and dry weather this summer have contributed to unusually severe wildfires in Europe and Western Canada. Hawaii's Maui was also hit by wildfires, which have killed at least 106 people, forced tens of thousands to evacuate, and devastated the historic city of Lahaina. Last year, heat waves resulted in over 61,000 heat-related fatalities across 35 European countries.
The summer of extremes continues. As we know, July was the hottest month ever recorded. The high impact weather, the high sea surface temperatures are continuing through August. So moderate and severe heat warnings for the next few days have been issued by a number of national meteorological services in Europe. This includes France, Switzerland, Germany, Poland, and so the list goes on.
Did today's thunderstorms and wild weather catch you by surprise? And what can you look forward to for the rest of the weekend? Here's your weather forecast to help you plan. A Grand Bahama businesswoman doing her part to give back to that community by teaming up with a well-known basketball coach. Davina Rutherford, who runs a Freeport-based event management company, recently teamed up with the head of the Ole Miss women's basketball team and Grand Bahama native Yolette McCune to host a free basketball clinic.
From inception, we've been community-minded, community-focused. We've always done community initiatives. So we always try to find ways in which we can give back, people and brands and companies that we could partner with to give back to the community in tangible ways.
She says outreach that involves kids are the best sorts of events.
Kids are fun, kids are easy, kids enjoy whatever it is you do for them. So it's always fun when doing stuff for the kids, and for me it's a little bit more meaningful because giving back not just to the community but to the younger generation, the things that we had when we were growing up, it's pretty cool to be able to do that for people coming up behind us.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of our team, I'm MARLENA Leonard.